I'm going to take you on a journey. I'm going to take you on a journey back to 1969. And I'm going to expedite that. And I'm going to take you right the way forward to 1995. But then I want to stroll backwards. Back to 1938. To reveal the secret. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and welcome guests. Good luck, Mr. Gorsky. What does that mean? July the 20th, 1969, 46 years ago. Just cast your mind back to then. If I say Apollo 11, some of you may not have even been alive then. Some of you will be. Some of you, like me, will remember because you saw it. Commander Neil Armstrong was the first man to walk on the moon. You will remember those now famous words. One small step for man. One giant leap for mankind. And the whole thing was televised. Around the world, everybody watched it. It was a magnificent moment. A moment in time when something unique happened. On his way back to the lunar module, having done the moonwalk, Neil Armstrong passed an enigmatic remark. And just as before he entered the lunar module, he said, "Good luck, Mr. Gorsky." NASA went into a frenzy. Who's Gorsky? They searched the database for the American space program, couldn't find anything. Is this a Russian cosmonaut? Looked at the Russian cosmonaut program. No, there's nobody there by the name of Gorsky. They looked at his history. Could they find anybody with Gorsky? Nobody with. Who's Gorsky? And Neil Armstrong smiled and stayed silent. I now want to expedite you back, or forward now, to 1995. In fact, July the 5th, 1995, when Neil Armstrong was in Tampa Bay, Florida. And he, just like me, had just given a speech. And as is their wont back in those times, there was a media frenzy, of course. And the media frenzy was full of the usual questions. And the now 26-year-old question arose again. Who was Mr. Gorsky? Now, in the intervening time, dear old Mr. Gorsky had unfortunately passed away. So this time Neil Armstrong said, "I'll answer your question. I'll tell you who was Mr. Gorsky." To understand where Gorsky came in, I've got to transport you back now, right the way back to 1938. Because back in 1938, in a little Midwestern town in the United States, the then little Neil Armstrong was a little boy. And doing what little boys did back in 1938, he played baseball with his friends. And you know what happens when kids play with balls, particularly baseballs? They go from one garden into another garden. And this particular baseball landed in the garden of, I think you're ahead of me, Mr. and Mrs. Gorsky. Neil Armstrong had to go next door to get the ball, to find it, to retrieve it. He couldn't find it. He looked everywhere, and finally he saw the ball, which was over, right next to the building, right underneath a window. So surreptitiously he had to get himself round unseen to get over to the window. And when he got there, he crept underneath the window to retrieve the ball. Just as he was retrieving the ball, he overheard Mrs. Gorsky shouting at Mr. Gorsky. And here is the denouement. What was said was this: Gorsky, you want sex? When that kid next door lands on the moon, that's when you get sex. And that's exactly what happened with the assembled crowd. They burst into laughter. And that's the story of good luck, Mr. Gorsky. It's a true story. It's been confirmed through the Armstrong family, through their entire history, that what I relayed to you this evening is in fact an absolutely verbatim true story. The man who grew up in a Midwestern town as a little boy, who then became the first man to walk on the moon, who also kept the secret for 26 years. What remains for me? All I have to do is to thank you.
Thank you very much, JCB. You have before you a row of strips of paper for those who